So I'm very excited today to share with you what I think is probably one of my new favorite tents. This is an inflatable tent by the Russian Bear Company. This is the Panda 2 massive glamping tent, and boy do I love it. Let me show you its features. All right, so we just got to our spot. The first thing we got to do is clear out a nice spot for the tent. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this. Some people don't mind just actually setting up over top of the snow, but I find once we get that wood stove going, we're going to have the snow start to melt inside the tent. For me, it's just easier to get rid of that snow right away. And for that, we brought a snow shovel and I brought a volunteer. Here you go, get to work. Be a man. Every time I do this, I find myself shoveling out a larger area because from experience, I know that the amount of area that you think you're gonna need is usually never enough, especially for a large tent like this. Now, this is the Russian Bear Panda tent. It's an inflatable tent, and I tell you, it's probably one of our personal favorites. It just has so much space. It's incredibly easy to set up. The build quality is second to none. One of the problems is though, try to lift that up. That's the problem. It's a little heavy, so if you're a person who likes to pack ultralight, you're not gonna want a Russian Bear Panda tent. But I tell you, when it comes to build quality, spared at no expense, as they say. With Russian Bear, typically, like I say, you're going for durability, so you're gonna be hauling this in on a big sleigh, or you're going to be pulling this on a snowmobile or a quad. So this is just something to keep in mind. So let's get it all pulled out here. There we go. They give you this inflator pump and they give you instructions on what PSI to pump it up to. I, of course, didn't bring those instructions. Why? Because I'm a man and men don't need instructions. We like screwing things up. Now, all we got to do, roll this bugger out. Like so. Very easy to set up for the most part. Now it's important to remember there are no poles with this tent. This is all there is. These are the intake valves. And the one thing I don't understand about this tent is they put this cloth protection over top, but it covers it and it makes it kind of difficult to get the pump inside there. So I wish this was Velcroed on or something. That's the only real criticism I have of this tent, to be honest. There's this dongle, which is kind of annoying. And so there's these different types of valves. This one will screw on. There's one that's not screw on, I guess, if you want to just top it up. Okay, pump away, sir. Now we're just gonna keep pumping it up. We don't want to over pump it for now. We'll probably have to pump it up a little bit more in a second. So once we've unscrewed this part, it's a one-way valve, so air cannot escape there. So just close that up, and that one's done. It actually doesn't take a whole lot of pumps, which is surprising. You think it would take a lot more, but it doesn't. It certainly helps having a helper. This is one of the things I can't stand about this, is this flap that comes over. I understand the importance of weather protection, but it just totally gets in the way and it's just a pain in the ass. So I wish they would fix that because it's very inaccessible. So another section here. So we could stake it down, but honestly, It's not windy, so I don't think we're gonna bother. You do get some very aggressive stakes. So they're very, very heavy duty stakes. So you can hit these with a camp mallet and you don't have to worry about, you know, bending them or anything. Like just one of those is damn near half a pound. So, and they give you a lot, okay? So you can stake it out. They give you a few smaller ones. All right, come on in and I will show you some of the features inside. This is just an incredibly well-made tent. The material is like some sort of hybrid canvas poly mixture, and it's just really tough. So one of my primary concerns when they told me they were sending an inflatable tent as a prepper, my biggest concern is, okay, I'm gonna pop a hole in this thing. Well, there's actually 3 layers of protection over the very rigid tubing. So if you take a look here, if you open this first layer up, so there's this first outer shell. This is a protective layer. So you can unzip that. And then underneath here, there is another protective layer. So we're not gonna actually open this one, but this is another protective coating, and this is really thick fabric. It's gonna be very difficult to puncture something like this. It's very durable, double stitched over that. So inside this is the tubing. So we've got the tubing, this thick skin layer, and then this just to kind of make sure that you have extra protection. So built really tough. You can see here, there's a clothesline. So this is really good because when we do get our wood stove in here, all that heat that rises to the top, we're gonna be able to use it to dry off our clothes. So the roof actually opens up. There's a bug net here. So if you wanted that sunlight to come in during the day, you can get a bit of a passive solar effect. So sunlight will come in on one side. You won't have that opening on this side, just on this side. The thing that's awesome about the Russian Bear Panda tent is that it's compatible with these types of thin film solar panels. This is the PowerFilm 120 watt solar panel. This is a ultralight, flexible, thin film solar panel. It's very compatible with the form factor and the shape of the Panda tent. You can actually hang a couple of these on top of the tent. Because it's such a lightweight material, it is not gonna collapse your tent. What's also great is they also work in low light conditions. So even on the side of your tent that is not in direct sunlight, it's still going to work very well. Very thick, heavy gauge, waterproof fabric on the bottom is incredibly durable. It's like what a dry bag is made out of. Not only do you have that exceptional abrasion resistance, you also have waterproofing on the bottom, which is great because this of course is a winter tent. If you do put this on top of snow, it's going to start to melt once you get your wood stove in here. Now I don't think this is silicone, so I doubt that it's going to be fire resistant. We do carry a wide variety of silicone mats that we can put in here to make sure that our tent doesn't actually burn. But that's a good thing about this material is it doesn't catch a spark as easily if we do have spark arresting problems when we put our stove jack out there. So as you can see here, we got a lot of windows. We have 2 doors, so you can go right through to the other end. Because we don't have winter anymore because of global warming, we're just gonna keep this wide open. You have a what looks like a no-see-um bug mesh on here. There's a little awning outside, so just to keep the rain off. This is just an incredible tent. I mean, I've stayed in a lot of tents, and while weight is a big problem with this tent, I mean, I've never seen a tent's build quality quite as good as this. And for the price point that you're paying, I think it's around 1,500 bucks. It's just exceptionally well made. Like everything is just double stitched, YKK zippers all around, really heavy duty reinforcement. That they went so far as to add webbing to the window to give it rigidity just tells you the attention to detail with this brand of tent. I mean, it's second to none in terms of the detail. Now, they can do this because they're not worried about weight. When we're looking at some of our Norwegian tents that are built to be ultralight, they can't put in all of these fancy features because it adds weight. Everything like this adds weight. Don't judge other tents too harshly when they're trying to keep that weight down. Understand that if you're not concerned about weight, you can throw all kinds of bells and whistles on these tents. Okay, so one of the cool things about this pump is that it's multi-purpose. So if you do have things like an air mattress, like this Climate Permaloft here, this is the Mac Daddy of air mattresses. I'm telling you, if you're a person who doesn't like going camping because of having to sleep on the ground, this thing is incredible. It merges a foam mattress, with a actual air mattress, and it's just incredibly comfortable. All right, hit it, buddy. All right, so this is the warmest sleeping bag in the world. This is the Outdoor Survival Canada Igloo. It doesn't get warmer than this. And in fact, this even comes in an Igloo Extreme variant. This is for Antarctic expeditions, okay? So it has multi-layers, heavy duty, military grade canvas sack. You don't even need a wood stove if you have this thing, because you're gonna be exceptionally warm. So it consists of an heavy duty external shell, so you can put this right on the ground. It's got goose down loft, I think 750 loft. It has an interior fleece liner, okay? And then even inside here, it's got that thermal reflective. So this is the Winterwell Woodlander double view, and that means there's glass on the sides, very thick, heavy duty glass. If you do, in such chance, break this glass, it is replaceable. So it's not a big deal. So we get our pipes in here. These are just a few of the pipes. Dom, if you want to open up that cooler, there's going to be more pipes in there. Now I realized that I forgot our silicone mat that goes underneath this. That's okay. We'll just have to be a little bit extra careful. One of the cool things about this tent in the positioning of the wood stove is that you don't need a very tall chimney. Typically you want about 4 or 5 feet above the tent so you don't get those sparks blowing back on the tent and burning holes in the top of your tent. And typically when the stove jack is right in the middle, you need a really long stove jack. But because it's right here, we might not even need all these pieces. We'll use them all just to be safe. So this is our titanium portable oven. So how this works, very simple. You just open it up. This is going to allow you to do baking when you're out here. I know what you guys are thinking. He's bringing everything and the kitchen sink. Well, this is Russian camping, man. So we got to bring it all. I know just in saying that, I'm probably now on a list. That's okay, because World War III is coming. I don't care anymore. So we got these trays we can stick in there. This is a really cool addition, and all you have to do is you just set it on top of your wood stove. Any Winterwell stove it's compatible with. Super lightweight and just really awesome. You can turn it that way, or you can turn it like that. This is our piece of fat wood that we found yesterday. As you can see, it's infused with like resin that's full of very nice flammable sap. So it's very flammable stuff. It's like gasoline. So we will use that to start our fire. Well, we got everything set up. As you can see, it's incredibly spacious. We have enough room for a giant double bed mattress. We have 3 chairs set up. We have a dog bed. We have a nice sized table. We have our kitchen section over there with the cooler and the wood stove and another little table. And we got exceptional amounts of walkway in between, overhead space. And of course, we have the bug out roll that contains all of our trinkets that we utilize. Up there we have a fan that is blowing the hot air down. Of course, right now it's warm out because there is no more such thing as winter in Saskatchewan. We only get it for about a week a year now. We have a illuminated lantern. It's solar powered and it has a nice light diffusing effect. So it illuminates the entire space. I got a kerosene lantern. I never really was a fan of kerosene lanterns, but I'm now sold on the idea, because kerosene is just an incredibly dense fuel. So this little bit of fuel will last a long time, and it provides heat, it provides lighting, you can adjust the flame. You know, this is not even really camping, this is almost glamping. So right now, Marshall is laying on our beaver throw rug. So he's living the life of luxury. You're sleeping on a bunch of dead beavers, bro. How do you feel about that? You know, in terms of setup time, I think it only took us 10 minutes to set this up. It does help if you have somebody else. It certainly helps to have somebody in the middle, inside, propping it up, and then it just goes up really quick. It doesn't take a lot of pumps. Most of the work is just getting it out here. Because this is a thicker material than what I'm used to, that heat is going to be well retained in here. So if you want to keep this wood stove running throughout the night, you know, you can have your bed right here. It's not too far to walk to feed the fire. One thing I really like about this tent is just the ambiance that's created in here with the lighting, the way the light interacts with this material and the way it comes through these windows. It just makes for a really nice experience. Now, obviously, it's not that cold, so we can afford to have all these windows open. Even if it wasn't, the material really catches the light well. So because it's so translucent, it brings the light in and it allows for illumination during the day. So you get to maximize that sunlight. The only thing I think this tent lacks is it could use a few more loops and hooks. Usually Russian bear tents, they tend to have too many of those things. One thing I'm noticing here is a paucity of pockets. So there isn't a lot of pockets and hooks. There could be a bit more of that. I mean, these are things that you could probably add on if you really wanted to, because you have so much extra fabric. But that's my only criticism. That's the only thing I think could be improved, to be brutally honest. The floor is great. The floor is exceptionally durable. As you can see, we're making a big mess in here. It's easy to clean up with our coyote fur mitts. So this is an all-season tent. It really is. And to have this wide opening here that you can bring stuff in and just have that unimpeded entranceway. As you can see here, going around the tent, there's a lot of guy out points. If this was in a forest and you could tie these to trees to give it a bit more durability and wind resistance. And of course you can guy it out here as well. So this is just for rain protection, extra rain protection. Again, I'm not too worried about the actual rain protection with a tent like this, because I'm probably only going to use it in winter time. If I do use it in summer, maybe as kind of like a beach hut or something like that. These things just roll up, flaps, so you can get, if you wanted to, you could sleep under the stars, which is pretty cool. There is a skirt on the side of here. The skirt isn't that long. If you're camping in very cold conditions, you would want to maximize insulation. So you would cover this skirt up with snow. That would just weight it down too and give it a bit more structural support around the foundation there. When I first heard inflatable tent, I was thinking like flimsy, but these are like really durable. There's a reason why they give it a PSI rating, because it's just like a bike tire. It's that level of durability. Some ventilation ports there. So if you wanted to, you know, ventilate, even this front entranceway is really nice. You know, you could have just the screen, or you could have, and it's a three-way perpendicular opening with YKK zippers. One sign of a really good tent is YKK zippers. One thing I liked about the UP5 Russian bear tent is that it had a solid door that opened. I thought that was a very good feature. I think you probably could integrate something like that into here. It's not a big deal. It would be nice if there was that solid swinging door like they had in the other models, but still pretty cool. Again, this stove jack is just really good. You know, I really like the positioning of it. It's got the Velcro right around there. The other Russian bear tents, they actually have a silicone mat that runs alongside the inside. This one doesn't have that, but it's not a big deal. It's not a deal breaker by a long shot. I do like the fact that you get so much chimney distance, and that means that sparks that hit here are gonna be burnt out by the time they hit it. And even if they do, this is such a durable fabric that I don't think it's going to be able to burn through. And you can just see here, like all that stitching is just, it's all double stitched all the way through along the tubing. All right guys, if you want more information on the tent, leave your questions in the comment section below. You can pick one of these up at CanadianPreparedness.com. We do ship to Canada and the United States. So make sure you scoop one up while the getting is good. This is a great family tent. I would say that you could easily sleep 5 to 6 people in here, no problem. 2 people, it's gonna be the lap of luxury, okay? This is glamping to the max. Definitely not ultralight backpacker. I'm heading out into the woods and I ain't never coming home. It's a nice crossover between a canvas style prospecting tent and your usual, like more modern style synthetic material type tents. It's a great blend of those two things. If you're maybe over the hill, you don't like roughing it as much as you used to, then this is definitely the camping experience for you. In my personal opinion, this is the best tent I've ever used, far and away. It's just also one of the heaviest. All right, so we gotta go do some chowing down inside the tent. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Canadian Prepper out.
The best way to support this channel is to support yourself by gearing up at CanadianPreparedness.com, where you'll find high-quality survival gear at the best prices, no junk, and no gimmicks. Use discount code PREPPINGGEAR for 10% off. Don't forget, the strong survive, but the prepared thrive. Stay safe.